Hey everybody, Coach Jacob here. In this video, we're going to be warming up together. We warm up to not only get ourselves physically warm, but also to prepare our minds to set intention for what we are about to do. Above anything in this video, I want you to try to focus on your form. Form is key. For our first warm-up, we are going to be doing something called posture scoops. So let's start by checking in with our body. We want to make sure that our feet are nice and parallel, facing forward, with our tailbone elongated down. A lot of times when we're warming up, we'll lose this, and our butt will kind of stick out. So we need to tuck this in, make sure that we're closing that rib cage, sucking this in, and rolling the shoulders back. We're going to start by making the prayer hands, facing forward and pressing them out, focusing on keeping that form the entire time. We're then going to raise them above our heads, opening up the shoulders, and then going down right next to us in a big motion. We're going to do 5 of these, all right? Pretty much everything in this video that you'll see, we're going to be doing 5 of. So let's do 4 more of those, making sure that we're bringing this down and pressing forward. It's really nice to find like an intentional breathing pattern through this. Inhaling, exhaling. Let's do 2 more of those. Make sure that when you come to the top, you don't want your shoulders all the way up to your ears. We're keeping these nice and rolled back. There we go. Nice. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to head to the ground into the quadruped. In this form, we're going to be on our knees with our toes pressed back, trying to keep our weight mainly onto our knees. You can have a little bit on your toes. Then we're going to come onto our hands as well, making sure again that this tailbone is nice and tucked, but we don't want to arch too much here. There should be a string on the top of your head, kind of pulling you up like this the entire time, or in this case, pulling you forward. From here, we're going to take our right hand and our left leg, and they're going to meet in the middle, elbow to knee, and we're going to reach forward, trying to create a straight line from the tips of our fingers to our toes. 5 on this side, 3 more from here. Make sure that weight is nice and even on your hands and your knee. I can always catch myself when my foot is dragging down a little bit. Nice. We're going to switch to the next side, 5 on that one. One thing that might help you if you have wrist problems or you're experiencing like discomfort in your wrist is taking your hand and almost clawing down into the ground, because it takes the pressure off your wrist and puts it more on your fingers. And if that also doesn't provide the amount of comfort that you need, you can always go to a fist. And for the next one, we're going to stay in that quad form. And we're going to end up doing quad rotations. In this one, we're going to be in that form, nice and even in all 4 areas. And we're going to take our right hand, go through like we're threading the needle, and then we're opening all the way up. Nice. Try not to bend this arm too much. A lot of people want to get down low as much as they can. Just find that nice, gentle warm-up in there. Let's do 4 more on this side. You can always feel this one in my lower back. Nice. I'm going to switch over to this side so that you guys can see what it looks like. one thing to keep in mind through all of these is that as climbers, our shoulders are way more developed than our chest, and it's really easy to get this shoulder leaning forward a lot, especially when we're going through in that quad rotation. So always try and open that shoulder up. You want to be nice and open to the world while we do that. The next thing we're going to do is still in the quad form, and you can always take a break for your knees. I know that mine are a little bit sensitive on harder floors. The next one we're going to be doing is hip rotations. Some people know these as fire hydrants. I'm sure you'll find out why in a moment. We're going to get into that quad rotation form. However, instead of going through like this, we're going to take that right leg, we're going to keep it at a 90-degree angle, and we're going to lift it up like that. So one thing that I don't want to see is opening up your entire body, bending this leg too much. We want to keep both legs in a nice 90-degree angle, pushing through with our hands, finding that way to the opposite foot. We're going to do 5 of those. You should feel like that string is pulling your head forward as much as you can, getting that tailbone nice and elongated as well. We're going to switch to the left side now, 5 on the left. Nice. Always keep checking in with your form. This next one is going to seem easier, however, there's a little bit of a nuance to it, all right? They're called hip abductors. What we do here is we're going to nice and lay on the floor, trying to keep nice and long. We are going to put our hand on our head on our hand rather, and press in to the floor in front of you. And it's going to be really easy to sink back onto that hip. But what I want you to focus on is rolling this hip forward, and we're going to flex our foot towards us. Make sure that when you do this, don't open up. You want to keep that foot facing forward the entire time. It's a little bit of a different area that we hit, but you'll see in a moment. We're going to do 5 of these. Check in with your form. Make sure that that hip is rolling forward. 3 more. 1 more. Awesome. You can really feel those hips waking up. Switch over to the next side. Make sure that we're rolling this forward. Feel that pressure in this hand. 5 total. Keep that foot facing forward. Flex those toes towards your face. Awesome. There we go. We are now going to go into the push-up plank and into downward dog. As climbers, like I said before, our shoulders are very developed, and if we don't focus on our chest, those can also be a little bit more underdeveloped. And what we get there is something we call climber shoulders. I'm sure that we all find ourselves walking around all the time like this. So what I want you to do is make sure that you're opening up that chest, because we really want to focus in on our pecs here, but we're also trying to get a stretch through our hamstrings. I consider myself a pretty mobile person, a pretty flexible person, and even I find myself needing to warm up my hamstrings as much as possible, especially when we're trying to do a heel hook or when we're getting to perches. If we have too tight of hamstrings, we can't be as mobile and strong through that as we normally would. So let's make sure that these are nice and warmed up. We're going to get into that downward dog formation. You can start in the quad, or in the quad formation. You're going to dig through your toes. Go ahead, and we're going to try and drive up this way through the downward dog. I don't want to see you poking your butt too much. Go ahead and try and tuck that tailbone at the same time. There's a string drawing your head down like this. You can warm it up a little bit through the toes. Nice. Walk your hands just a smidge forward, and we're going to rock into the plank form. And then we're going to do a push-up going back into downward dog. Now really quick, for that plank formation, and just holding this isn't as effective as if we really try to hollow out that body. So we're going to try to push through the heels and back of us. Tuck that tailbone, or rather elongate that tailbone. Suck this as far into our spine as we can. Close the rib cage. Find the string. Make sure that we have weight on our hands. Just hold that for a moment. As tight as you can. Make that body tight, tight, tight. Awesome. Let's do 4 more of these downward dog push-ups. Awesome. Now we're going into my personal favorite, the Cossack Lunge. We're going to start with our feet nice and parallel, facing forward. Ooh, get the blood rush in the hands and you stand up. We're going to do a little bit of a wider stance, just a smidge wider than what we normally would be standing in. We are going to lean over to our left side into a lunge with that foot facing forward. This foot is going to come up, toes going up. We don't want to brace on our knee too much because that really takes away the effectiveness of all of this. So this is going to be a little bit different for everybody because everyone's mobility is a little bit on a sliding scale there, especially depending on the day. So while some of us may be able to get all the way down here, some of us might only be able to get to a 90-degree bend. Either one is okay. This is your warm-up. We're just giving you the guideline. So we're going to take that, and we're not pushing through with this. We're pulling through with the heel, going back to that heel hook idea. So we're pulling through. Nice. Focus on staying balanced, tucking that tailbone, string on the top of your head. It's going to be 10 total, 5 on each side.